Hi guys, so welcome to my channel with me, Cindy. So I've been getting just the oddest kind of recurring messages that, well, it came out twice in readings. And okay, before I just describe where I've been getting these messages, I'll say like, I have found over the years doing my channel that like messages will start to seep through in like collective zodiac readings that seem to be more collective, like as the group, or it's something that needs to come out. And okay, so I feel like I'm being compelled to do a collective reading, and the theme of it is whistleblower. So it's really odd because the message first came out, it was in the video, the reading that I did for Sagittarius, but it wasn't actually on the YouTube. It was in the extended reading, and an interesting message. And then and I'll get to what this message is in more detail in a second. And then it came out again, like kind of a repeating a theme, a message again, but in Capricorn's reading. And I thought, well, that's a coincidence. And then, sometimes energy like people coming that watch certain videos, they may have watched Sagittarius and they may have gone to the extended, and for some reason they went to the Capricorn and there's something relevant in that, so it can repeat with that. But so this is where it got weird. I was making dinner on, it was Friday, and I had left my TV on. I don't have cable, like, so I watch the different apps like Netflix and that. And I think, you know how when Netflix goes to sort of like the screensaver and then things just keep kind of like scrolling on? Well, it was called, if you haven't watched it, it's great. And it's totally relevant to what this topic is about to be. It's called The Pharmacist, which, I love that documentary. It's all based on real facts. If the world was filled with people like this pharmacist, it would be a completely different place from what it is today. That's for sure. But he was a whistleblower, and what he was up against was very, very, very difficult. And so I thought, well, that's funny, like, because I'd watched it a long time ago, maybe a year or so ago. It wouldn't leave my screen, which I thought was really weird. Like, it's supposed to, like it flips, like it'll stay for a little while on that and then it'll go away, and it didn't. I was making dinner, I kept looking at the TV, I'm like, it still says The Pharmacist. That was interesting. So anyways, yeah, it was Friday. So then I sat down with my little dog, Lily. Friday night, I thought, okay, Lily, let's watch something on Netflix. And I was intrigued because I think it had just come out on the Thursday. It was about the 3 Mile Island, which I didn't really know much about because when it happened, I was pretty young. I was born in 72. So I don't know, maybe I was like 5 or 6 years old when this was happening, and it wasn't really happening where I lived. And I didn't know, pay attention to what's going on. So anyways, I wanted to learn about this. Oh my God, it was the whole thing about a whistleblower again. And it's just coming up over and over again, and things around me. I'm thinking, what is this message? And I wanted to sit down and do Aquarius, and I thought, no, I feel like I'm being pushed to do a collective reading on some sort of whistleblower theme here. And I thought, I don't really want to do this. I don't like getting into these things because, I don't know, I want to do what I want to do. I'm an Aries, so, me and my spirit guides, we have problems with each other sometimes. But anyway, so I sat down. I have it here. Oh, I'm gonna do Aquarius. So I sat down, and it felt wrong. It feels so wrong. Like, you're supposed to do this. So what I want to describe to you, kind of like what's been coming in intuitively to me, what's been like, yes, when I've been watching certain things like on the 3 Mile Island, which is just amazing to watch. And okay, here's the message that I feel like is for the collective, and then I'm going to pull cards and see where it goes for everybody, is to pay attention. To pay attention to someone who is coming out of some sort of industry. This industry, honestly, could be anything from pharmaceutical. It could be to somehow resource-based, just because of the pharmacist, nuclear power. I don't know what it is. But there's somebody coming out of who's going to speak up or speak out. Now, they may do it in an unconventional way, because this is how it came out in the Sagittarius Extended, was that this person is coming out of some sort of industry, and they may be speaking out against it. I feel like it could be very detrimental to this person to do it. So that's the first indication. And I don't know, this could happen on a very small scale in your community, because there's so many different people that would be watching this from so many different places. It could happen on a larger scale. And it might not be something that happens right now. It kind of reminds me a bit of that Libra reading that I did like a couple of years ago, where there was a whole reading about documents or something being uncovered to enable some sort of justice to occur, where it felt like justice never would. And there's been a few things. I think there was a law that changed in California about 6 to 8 months, maybe, yeah, after that. And then there was just the whole thing that happened here in Canada with the grave sites of so many of the Indigenous children in the residential schools. So it's interesting how that kind of like, yes, these justices started happening. This just feels like, so this person may express this somehow in a cartoon, like satire or artwork, poetry, music. I don't know. They might come right out and say it, but this whistleblower will be, there will be a smear campaign targeted around this whistleblower. I really feel that very, very, very strongly, incredibly strong. Actually, that came out in the Capricorn, where it reminded me of a woman who was a female doctor who worked for a sick children's hospital here in Toronto. This happened, I think, back in the 80s, where there was a medication, and I can't remember what it was for, but it was for children who had like attention deficit disorders or something like that. And the pharmacies were really pushing her to use this. And so she was I guess, prescribing it to certain patients, and she noticed really big changes in the kids that she was prescribing this to. And she was like, kind of like in a way whistleblowing this, and a huge smear campaign hit her. It destroyed her career as a doctor. It also targeted her personal, what's the word I'm looking for? Like her own personal credibility. And yeah, because that is definitely what can happen in to an individual who is within an organization of some sort of institution, whatever, you know, that could be. And when they know that something isn't right, and then they come out and they speak out about it, a lot of times people's lives are threatened, people's livelihoods are threatened, because you can sometimes be talking like billions of dollars, billions of dollars. I don't want to tell you to believe the whistleblower, and I don't want to tell you to not believe the smear campaign. I want to tell you to do your due diligence and to really look at what is on the line for the person who's doing the whistleblowing. Why would they risk so much if there wasn't some truth to this? But also follow things like, you know, you want to make sure too that it isn't somebody who is a whistleblowing against this product because they actually are backed by some other product. Like that all goes on too. They're backed by some other product over here, and they want to bring that forward. Like, you really have to do your due diligence these days, particularly. But there is such a strong, and I feel like I gotta sit down and do this, or it's going to keep seeping out into the readings, and that tends to be what happens. So I just want to focus on what you guys like on your personal journey when I do like the zodiac sort of thing. So there's something about this whistleblower. I'm being drawn to my wild unknown. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go with the wild unknown and see what that produces for us, and just keep expanding on this. Believe the whistleblower. I would really recommend to both watch The Pharmacist and is it Meltdown at 3 Mile Island it's called? This stuff is totally legit. You know, and the other thing that I guess is interesting that's been going through my head about this, thinking about these things, when people do speak out against government, companies, industry, whatever that could be, is there is historically Historically, yes. When there's too much power, there's too much money on the line, it all becomes, it's often about profit in many, many ways. I have a concern that, okay, this is why it's also important to do your own discernment, right? I do have a concern that on many levels of social media, there are definitely holes that you'll go down that will take you to, that will divert you from the truth. They will divert you from the truth. But there are holes that you go down that will help you discover the truth. But because it's become very complicated how information is utilized and shared and accessed, that there is a push not to question. Whether it's because, well, you become very fringe if you question things. I think that's why this is coming up. I think that there is something very legitimate that is about to be questioned. And even perhaps people who are, I don't believe in this theory or this possibility. It's like a divide of not questioning or questioning, where we need to sit in the middle with that. There's definitely a concern that things that I think that we've all gone through as a collective, I don't know, this could be something very divisive. I hope it's not. But I want to stick with the theme that pay attention to what this whistleblower is, what's going on. And the smear campaign will be very well done. And honestly, what does it matter if somebody, if the smear campaign has something to do with somebody's sexual orientation, or if they've been faithful or not to their partners? It's going to get personal. I feel like it's going to get personal. But at the end of the day, it has nothing to do. It's like redirecting you. It's trying to make you look at someone differently, so to take away their credibility from what it is that they're saying. Let's just, whoa. Oh my God, the fire ant card. Yeah, I was saying, let's just pull cards. All right, I do need to do this reading. I don't know. You know, this is too, I don't know if this could even be a message for you personally. Like, if some of you are witnessing certain things in your own industry or around you that you feel like you need to whistleblow on. There's definitely, look at the attention. And this is that hot under the collar attention with the fire ant. It's very hot and under the collar. And it's like, welcome to the fight is kind of what I'm hearing with this as well. My very, very first interpretation of this card was a bird's eye view of a couple of kids getting together, like, you know, like high school kids or something. One bumped into the other during the day and they don't really get along anyways. So feathers are ruffled. Yeah, really? Okay, yeah. You know what? We're gonna settle this after school, like in the yard. And it's almost like a bird's eye view. Like, and so what you have here is you have two individuals, and I feel like that it'll be someone who's a whistleblower and some sort of organization or company or government that they're in, and they're like head to head with this. But then it's not just that, like it gets a lot of other energy start getting drawn in here, and the intensity is focused right here. And then, but look at all of the outside energy that is looking in on this. This has like, feels like big scandal. It feels like big scandal, but it's whistleblower. So it's important because both the pharmacist, it's so funny these would come up. Both the pharmacist and 3 Mile Island, like we're talking about people's lives here. People's lives, people's livelihoods, and long-term effects of that. Could even be people's physical health. I know the obvious is a lot of people are going to go on here with the pharmaceutical company. It could be. I don't know. I'm not really getting a direct message on that. I'm not seeing that. And the fact that the 3 Mile Island came out when it did, like I really feel like things synchronized. I think it came out Thursday. I think it was released Wednesday or Thursday. I didn't watch it till Friday on Netflix. But I did, when did I do Sagittarius? Wednesday or Thursday. And then Friday, I did Capricorn, and it was this repeat message about like this whistleblower speaking out against something that's going on kind of behind the scenes to either toe a political line. It always leads to money, right? It always leads to money. The starfish. The first thing I always get with a starfish too is that what you see on the surface here, like the part that's exposed, is very, very different from what is underside, what is under the underside of it, what is going on in there. This person could even have some sort of a public image already. This person could have a public image already. So I'm leaning towards it could be politics. It could be somebody whistleblowing within, it's interesting. I'm hearing the word Bollywood, not Hollywood. I'm hearing the word Bollywood, which is a huge industry. It's not something that I watch, or I am slightly aware of it. I just feel like I've nailed the hammer on the head of the nail. I do not feel like it's the only thing that this is about, but there's something going on in the Bollywood industry that is going to be exposed. So let's see what the Tarot of the Wild Unknown has to say about this. I'm actually sitting here thinking, where am I going to release this? Because I do have a Rumble channel. I'm not really happy with Rumble, though. I know a lot of people have said, well, you can go to, and to be honest, like, don't look at me as a conservative or as a liberal or a Democrat. Or, I don't believe in politics, to be honest. I don't really believe in any of that stuff. I want to say, just as a creator, on the few things that I've put on Rumble, because I will test things out. I don't really believe what people tell me. I will take that and put it in my feather cap, and then I will go investigate it for myself. My investigation of it was that it actually does it more so than YouTube. It's like policing people's comments. I was really surprised, and these comments weren't, so it's not what you think it is. So, and then I'm thinking to myself, I have comments open on here because I don't have comments open on the other videos, so it just makes it easier to monitor it. But just keep it, keep it respectful with one another is the only thing that I would ask. Because there's definitely like a room for discussion. And even, sometimes I will not be aware of what's going on in some part of the world. Like, I think what was a law that got changed in California that supported that Libra reading. So it is interesting to see, like, if you come back months later, you can leave a comment in the video and say, oh, this is happening right now in this. And there's a whistleblower and look what's going on. So we'll see. Okay, the fire ant. The fire ant. Wow, the Ten of Pentacles. This is legacy, okay? So this is something to do with legacy. This is something to do with something that's been built from the bottom up. And it's got, like, it's a very solid long-term foundation, whatever this is. This is something that has been around a long time. It's like a melting pot. Well, a melting pot is interesting to say that. What I wanted to, the fact that came out, so that feels kind of challenged. The melting pot is being challenged in something. It's like something is wanting to channel here, and I'm trying to tell you what I wanted to say. So there's some sort of a melting pot within something that's being, it's challenged. It needs to be challenged. there's some sort of identity that is lost in this melting pot. So, right, like if you're not familiar with the term of a melting pot, it could be people of many different races and religions, nationalities, beliefs that are all thrown into the same situation, which is interesting because the Ten of Pentacles would really, it would support that theory. Like it could be, it could be a country, it could be any sort of government institution as well. But people thrown in from all these different dynamics, but expected to kind of take on this persona and be this way, and let's just all get along in this form, and that's how we do that, and that's how everything works. I want to say pressure cooker. That was what was sort of like the first thing that came to me with these two cards, was like a pressure cooker. But melting pot came out. So the melting pot has become a pressure cooker because of the conflict that it's actually creating. The Ten of Pentacles, the Moon. Well, that just feels like, too, that there's a lot of fear here, for one thing. There's fear associated with that. That's very obvious. I do feel like that this is about, like, something hidden. It's the most obvious thing, that there's something hidden going on within this. And I will pull out, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun will do a good job, actually, showing us the different areas that this could be about. Anything else to come out with this? We have the Father of Cups, we have Temperance, and then we have the Ace of Wands. There's a lot of emotion that's involved in this. Oh my God. That's so interesting. I can't remember his name. It was he was in charge, I believe, of the, I wasn't so focused so much on his title as I was like really observing him and listening to the words that he said, and when he said certain things in regards to certain situations that he was talking about, because I was really studying his archetype. I believe in the 3 Mile Island, he was in charge of the cleanup. Now, this individual I would describe as the King of Swords to a fault, where if people were emotionally triggered by something that was upsetting them, he described it as their drama. But their drama was people who were worried about their children. So the safety of their children. Is my child going to end up with a lethal dose of radiation and die of cancer? That's a legitimate concern that is driven by feelings. And so just watching this guy in the program, I just thought this man is completely closed off from his feelings, which is interesting. I'm not getting that from this card. It could be on some level, but this is the melting pot, or this melting pot, but this is the pressure cooker. Like, you can't, yeah, maybe this could even just be like the world as a whole right now. Like, you cannot discredit, disregard the emotions that people fear. Okay, there's fear in this. There is some level of fear associated with this, or there could be when this comes out. The Moon is here. It's the first thing coming out with this. So there's definitely a level of fear associated with this pressure cooker, melting pot, whistleblower, the pressure cooker. Like, there's only so much that can be contained in this environment. It's like stone cold logic is what will come up against this. Emotions will not be taken into account, but emotions are part of a guidance system. When people are afraid for the lives of their children and themselves, legitimately, like something that they can't see. There's some really interesting footage in that documentary too, of rallies and protests that went on, and one young black man, I can't remember what his name was, but he described it so well. He said, I can see racism, I can feel hate, I can witness sexism, I can't see, feel, smell, taste, hear, see radiation. All that. Like, it was just, he was really up there on the podium and he was speaking passionately because it was true. And these people's feelings were real. And you can't, this is almost like there's something that's gone on too long where the emotional truth is not looked at as a factual truth. And temperance. Look at this sweat. Look at this. You've got the water that is being completely withheld. It's being held back. The emotions are not considered in any of these. It is the archetype of the engineer in reverse. It is the archetype. The shadow of the archetype is what this energy is. Where are you, architect? Or engineer, sorry, engineer. It's the engineer. But see, that's what this guy was, who I identified as the King of Swords, completely holy, but with nothing else to balance it. The engineer. When the engineer is in light, ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. When it's in the shadow, reliance on mechanistic solutions without regard for emotional consequences. Emotional consequences are very, very real. And this is like the spark that ignites something. The flame, like, you can only hold back this water so long. This is exactly a pressure cooker. A melting pot. So much gets melted in here. So much gets put in and is not considered as part of the equation. It can only happen for so long. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot, like, you know what there is? This is, if I even just think about, like, if I just step back and pull out of my sort of like my channeled Oracle Cindy, and I just think about, like, today, there's a couple of things I went and did for myself this morning before I sat down and I was doing the readings. The first thing was I went and got my car detailed. It's not typically, it's not like a full-on detail. It's sort of like an assembly line where they wash your car really, really well. And then they have these kids that go in and they wipe everything down on the inside. You know, it doesn't probably take more than 20 minutes for the whole thing to happen. It's not like you pay like $300-400 and they do, like, you know, that intense detailing. But anyways, this place has been like so economical for so long. I haven't been there all winter. I often go like 3 times a year. I go after I got my snow tires off. Winter's kind of done, I hope it is, and get all that stuff cleaned out. And then at the end of the summer too, like all the beach sand and shit, get that all cleaned out. So I went there, and it's the first time since I've lived in this community that I've seen the prices change. And I used to be able to get it done, what I had done, for I think like 25 or 30 bucks. So it was $45 today. Oh, shit. Well, I didn't say anything to them because I absolutely get it. Like, everything has gone up. They can't, I was surprised that their prices were what they were for the longest time. And then I went and got gas today. I'm driving to the gas station, I thought, because I was on empty. I thought, okay, here's the deal, Cindy. So if it's under $2 a liter, you'll fill it up because I think it's going to go higher. Fill it up. If it's under $2 a liter, fill it up. If it's not, I'll put in 50 bucks. See what that gets me? I pulled up the gas station. No word of a lie. It was $1.99.9. It's like, well, it's under $2. So that's the first time I've ever put over $100 of gas in a car. So anyways, I went and did a couple other things at the grocery store. I came home, I was like, I just spent $350. I just spent $350. And like, everything is getting like incredibly costly. And I just feel like with what's already gone on for so many people, it's just like a pressure cooker. There's a pressure cooker going on. And I feel like there's some sort of things that are going to be coming out in the open. People cannot keep it down anymore. People can't keep it down anymore. The most important message I'm getting from this is to believe the emotion that comes with the message. Believe the emotion that comes with the message. So the message that tries to, and you know, sometimes that is not always good because emotions can get the better of us. Whereas I feel like the feelings, the actual equation of the human experience is being missed in something here. And it can become explosive. There's a lot of intensity around this. One of the most efficient ways to keep government and to keep people from rising up against government and anything that has some level of power and control over them is to keep them comfortable. When people are comfortable, they will not risk it. I know that sounds like, but it's coming from a very theological, like if you look at it in theory and often in practice, the minute the minute people have difficulty, it's like let them eat cake, right? Like the minute those that have some level of power have become completely detached from the emotional and human experience. And like, right, the whole idea of Marie Antoinette, when did that even happen? I'm not even sure if that was actually a phrase that was used. Perhaps it was. But the idea was that she was living a life of, you know, cakes and breads and excess, living excess. That when hearing that, well, the peasants, the people in the town, in the community are hungry, well, let them eat cake. If they don't have meat, they can have cake. You don't understand. You can't get cake if you can't get meat, right? Like that was, and then when people heard, if that was not the actual words that she used, then people are no longer comfortable. They're going to take a chance. I'm really getting that when somebody is pushed to the point that they're no longer comfortable, that those that have the power have put themselves in a very precarious position. It's just logic. It really just is logic. Because when people have nothing to lose, they have nothing to lose. So what that is, I don't know. I could theorize about a lot of different things, but doesn't mean I'm predicting the future. I might just be predicting the energy of something right now. Maybe it'll shift. I don't know. Wands, Mother of Swords, Nine of Cups, Son of Wands. There's that sword energy that I'm talking about that's like too intense. Intellectual logic is the only thing that should be considered here. It cannot be the only thing considered. It doesn't make sense for it to be the only thing considered. We don't just have brains. We have so many other elements of ourselves. Or we were only... If life itself on Earth was only governed by intellect and the mind, it would have died out a long time ago. Because it would absolutely make no sense to reproduce. It would make no sense to stand up for something that didn't necessarily affect you, but affected other people. But there's a part of you that sees it and goes, that's wrong. I can't live with that. That comes from an emotional point, you know? Like that comes from an emotional point, not just a... Because a logical point is, well, I could be endangering my own safety if I stand up for the rights of Black people, or if I stand up for the rights of Indigenous people, or if I stand up for the rights of women, or transgender people. Like, whatever it is, anyone who in any way is somehow placed in a position that they have less authority and control over their lives than another group. When people from that other group look at that, and some of them go, wait a second, this isn't right. We have to speak up about, that's not coming from the mind, because, you know, just let that group go and we will continue to grow. And part of what I'm saying, like, there's something here that is lost and is not serving the greater good of humanity. The emotions drive the dream. The dream eventually creates the reality. Oh, I had to get this all out. I just want to do regular tarot readings. Okay. Let's see. Oracle of the Radiant Sun. These can be pretty in-depth, so I'm going to pull out one card to go with the fire ant in this. And this is definitely Shadow Engineer. The man who was the whistleblower in, well, both of them. The pharmacist, but particularly in 3 Mile Island. Like everything, man. He lost everything to do it. That takes a lot of courage. That takes an enormous amount of courage. So I feel like to think about that, whatever this whistleblower is, if this whistleblower is, they're speaking out in a way that is causing them to become a target when they could have just stayed quiet, doing what they do. That's the credibility. It makes no sense for this person to otherwise date this or come out with this if there wasn't something behind this. Why would someone risk everything? The fire ant. Oh my God. You got defense, secrets, and principle. Keeping the secrets, defending the secrets. I'm telling you, guys, there's something here. Egotism. Yeah, that came out really strong for me early on in the, was it early on? I don't know, it was episode 2 or 3 perhaps of 3 Mile Island. And it just reminded me of the Titanic. This will not sink. This is unsinkable. Nothing could go wrong here with nuclear energy. And what was it that came into my mind when I was thinking about that? I thought it's because mankind has an incredibly unique way of convincing themselves of what it is that they tell themselves. And that it can be no other way. It's phenomenal. And it doesn't matter how many times they are like, nature spits in their face and says, you are such a fool. They still do it. Humanity still does it. Okay, so where's the book? Maybe I'll do this as a premiere, so y'all can have like a live chat too with it. Okay, defense, Mars and Taurus. The events this could be around. Starting up a new business, playing the stock market. Okay, so just think about these things. That's interesting. A quick business deal with a profit. A position that makes a leap in value. Beating a competitor. I'm seeing both his name and his face. Elon Musk right now. I think it's a huge fallacy when people get, they elevate those that have made, why would we elevate? Why would we look for leadership and hope from people that are, quite frankly, like billionaires, trillionaires? What are they getting at right now? And enjoy the limelight. Like, it just, there's something about that that's bothering me. I'm not going to say that the platform that he's purchased doesn't need some help. I think all the platforms really need some help. But I'm just concerned about where that's going. And that's kind of, I'm seeing that a bit here. Anyways, when this card is dealt in a reading, it shows a need to defend something to question or values. The fire ant. There is a defense here to keep the secret. I want to also say it's also bringing to mind for me I didn't really cling to the names, and I'm sorry that I don't remember their names, because these people have incredible value and their names are worth remembering. But the gentleman who was the whistleblower in the 3 Mile Island, he absolutely believed, and I think he still does, in nuclear energy. But what he didn't believe in was how it was being done, and the shortcuts that were being taken, and that it was profit above all else. Like, I don't want to give anything away, like, you watch it and the things that they were prepared to do in the cleanup without making sure everything was going to be okay. Like, it was just astronomical. Like, the millions of lives didn't matter. So that's also the thing. Like, there is something here. This person believes, this person or people, however this could come out, believe in what it is that they're in. They don't believe in something about it that's going on right now. It's a secret, or it's a secrets that have to be kept. So doesn't it interesting? We go from Mars to Venus. Mars in Taurus, Venus in Scorpio. Secrets, Venus in Scorpio. A secret liaison, a secret love, a passionate love affair. Money comes to a partner, a shared inheritance, an expression of extreme jealousy. Ooh. When one receives this card in a reading, it usually indicates that a deep secret is being held by the questioner, or is being hidden from them by someone very close. I don't think I really need to jealous about that. It's just, there's a big secret here, and this coming out. Now, the principle, to me, this is like what we stand for. There is a level of standing for this, believing in this institution, believing in this business, believing in this government body, believing in this corporation, at least about what the principle of it is supposed to be about. But there's something in it that's wrong, that's not right here. Jupiter and Sagittarius. Oh, that's interesting. We get the Sagittarius. Jupiter. I think Jupiter is this way. Jupiter and Sagittarius. Events. Planning a grand tour or a world trip. Being completely immersed in a new philosophy or religion. Conversion. The need to persuade others of a philosophy. That's interesting. That's kind of bringing in the melting pot energy for me again. Like, this is the philosophy. We need to all believe in it, no matter what. Nothing changes this. When this card appears in a reading, it will raise a matter of principle of life philosophy that is particularly related to the question. Now, that could come in on so many different levels and so many different parts of life. Like, what is this philosophy about? What is this principle about? It's almost like defending the secrets of the corporation, defending the secrets of the institution. It is a kind of a little, well, I don't really know. I don't really know. What do they do with all that nuclear waste? It must be managed. I know some of it goes to medicine, like some of the radiation and shit, right? Like, see, I don't know. Because there's a nuclear power plant here in Ontario. And that puppy's been going for a long time. I don't know what's going on. Oh my God. I said in one of the this was really funny too. This was the other thing that solidified this message for me. I think it was in the Capricorn reading where I talked about, you know, the world isn't held together the way you think it is. The way things go behind the scenes is not. And I learned that because I worked in the pest control industry for 16 years. And my first portion in that industry before I got into the QA department and auditing and whatnot was as a technician. And I swear to God, I've been behind the scenes of, you name the industry, I've been there. Funeral homes, I've been in the embalming room. I used to go there once for a couple of years, to the point where they didn't even cover up the bodies anymore. It's like, Cindy, I've seen them before. They actually look a lot better before they embalm them, I'll tell you that. They still have quite a bit of color until they suckle the blood out of them. It's true. But yeah, the only one that I hadn't been into, this is the funny thing, was a nuclear power station. I swear I've pretty much been everywhere. I've been in penitentiaries. I've been, everywhere. Food processing facilities. I never got to the nuclear power station because something got changed in the scheduling and then I didn't go. But I always joked, the world is literally held together by duct tape and paper clips. It is. Like, you'd be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't if you know enough about a lot of different industry. But we often tend to think that the professionals or that the people really high up, they got it all together. Everything is being looked after in the best way possible. And then I think I said, but, hopefully nuclear power stations aren't using duct tape and paper clips. But I never got in there, so I don't know. In 3 Mile Island, at one point, he says, while they were doing some sort of a cleanup or something, they used duct tape to go around. And he said there are many uses for duct tape. You should not be using duct tape for that. That is a no-no. Like, that is not. And like in some of their suits and stuff, they seal themselves up, right? That's okay. This was something else. And I thought, oh my God, they do use duct tape and paper clips in nuclear power stations even. So, and it was funny because I had mentioned that. I think it was in Capricorn. And that's what I mean. Like, this stuff seeps through. And it's like, Cindy, you have to do this reading. You have to do it. So I'm doing it. Doing it. Leave me alone after this, okay? Why is that sticking out? The world. Look at the way the cards are sitting here. This world card is sticking out on the top. There's something that needs to come to a conclusion here. But I'm hearing this has to do with the world in general. Like everybody globally. What is it going to clarify? Let's clarify the fire ant. This, the Fool, the Queen of Swords, and the Hermit. And now I feel like this is a new beginning that's kind of being put on hold. Like waiting for something, for some sort of legal thing that needs to change. Like this person could be in some sort of an industry where they have signed some sort of secrecy. I don't know what they've signed. But it's like biding your time, waiting, keeping this quiet right now. This is quiet. It's not out. I don't know when it's coming out. Sometimes with these readings, like it could be something, like I said, with that Libra reading, it was like 6 to 8 months later. And then there was some other stuff that came out that was like a year and a half later. But there's definitely something here about being able to feel free enough to speak out, have a new beginning, go forward. But with the Queen of Swords, you got to follow the law, the letter of the law. She's out here too. And the Hermit, keeping this quiet, keeping this to oneself. Defense. Defense. The King of Pentacles. It could be like a CEO. This person has a lot to lose in this. It could be about the CEO or someone who runs or owns a corporation. Secrets. The Ten of Swords. There's a sense of like danger, whether that's a physical danger to this person, which happens in certain industries where they don't want people to speak out, or like this could be the death of them. I do want to say though, on some level, because I feel like this is going to happen, it's going to come out, that this person is anticipating an opening in this, like an ending, right? The world is speaking out here. An ending to this cycle where they have to be quiet. Principle. The Page of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. This is almost like communicating to, okay, let's say this was someone who is the head of a corporation. They're the CEO. I don't know, what else do we have? The owner, I don't know. But, and then this almost feels like, the person who works right below them or is connected to them almost on the same, like, equal level, equal ground here. It could be like the board of directors in relation to this. And the Page of Wands, what you say here, is that? What is the foundation of this built on? Something here is not supporting that. There's something going on that has kind of run amok of what the principle of whatever this was supposed to be. It's shifted. Something has changed because it's become such a melting pot, and human emotion is not considered in the decisions that are made. It takes the humanity out of it. And why are we here? Because we're part of humanity. You can't take humanity out of it. Humanity is in it. Humanity is it. The Ten of Pentacles. Oh, Judgment. Oh, I forgot to tell you the other thing that came out. Okay, wait a second. The Judgment card. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's connecting. What was it? It wasn't here. Sorry, I'm just pulling things together here because there's a whole bunch going on. I sat down initially thinking, all right, you know what? I'm going to do the collective reading. I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. And I picked this deck up and was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. And I was just shuffling it. And, what was it that came out? I went, oh my God. Where is it? I'm sure it was this deck. It was basically the person, was it this deck? The two, oh shit. I'm sure it was. Because I don't know what other deck it would be that would have something written on it. It came out, oh no, mate. Oh no, it was this deck. It was this deck, sorry. Because there was something written on it. It was that the thief was the judge. That's, as soon as I picked this up, the message came in. The thief is the judge. So the person who is stealing is the person who makes the decision about whether it's right or not. The thief is the judge. And yes, because this deck, I had used it. I guess I'd used it at some point in Capricorn. I don't remember. So it was out and I was just putting everything away and doing a pre-shuffle, thinking, should I do the collective reading? Because I really want to just, I'm already behind today. And I thought, I want to do Aquarius, and I want to do, where the hell is it? The Thief and the Judge. That's what I'm getting here with the Ten of Pentacles. Judgment. Like something being judged here. Something being determined. The person making the judgment is the person stealing. Doing the wrong. I know these cards are in here. Are you kidding me? What the hell? Oh, there's the, oh my God, they're right here at the back. Thief and Judge. I saw that and I thought, oh, that I'm supposed to do the collective. Even though I was thinking, I think I want to do Aquarius. I was really on the fence about it, you know. It's my Gemini rising. I don't know. Thief and Judge. I totally forgot about it until this. And yeah, you can see I just put it on the back of the deck here. Because I didn't shuffle this. I just went in here to look for the engineer. The thief, the person thieving, the person doing the wrong is the person making the judgment. Which is, that's wrong. What kind of principle is that? The Moon card. The Moon card. The Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, well, I do feel very much like it has something to do with work. Some sort of field that somebody is in, somebody is invested in, somebody has put a lot of hard work into it, somebody believes in this field, but there's something going on that they don't believe in. That, well, it's wrong. It's legit. It feels very morally and humanly wrong. It's just wrong. The Father of Cups. The High Priestess. Oh my God, is it ever hidden? It's like, you know, the difference between what I like to say, the knowledge, the knowing, the facts that exist in the human experience, and then the facts that do not change, which are cosmic and divine. That's not based on your opinion. That's not based on human evolution. That's not based on a society you were raised in. That has nothing to do with divinity. That has everything to do with human evolution, and that's it. Like, And that occurs in so many different ways around the planet. Like, this is fact, and this is emotion. This is deep emotion, and the truth of that. And that is absolutely legitimate, and it needs to be considered. That is a fact that supersedes the principles that have been created by any organization or institution or political movement. It is divine fact. It is the truth of the human soul. Temperance. Temperance. The Empress. Wow. It could have something to do as well with children, the safety of children. You know, because that came up really strongly about, you know, why people's emotions should have been considered here. Because they had a legitimate reason to be concerned. As opposed to this King of Swords guy. It's their drama. He described it as their drama. How to make people feel completely unseen and not understood. And not legitimate. Like, why is our fear, why is our heartbreak, how is that not part of the equation? Because that affects, if you want it to come around to a bottom line, it's going to affect a bottom line. It's going to affect how people perform in that community. It's going to affect how people treat each other in a community. When people are living in fear and heartache all the time, it starts to spill out in different ways. And I tell you, that King of Swords is going to have a bottom line that he doesn't understand why that drama is affecting people that way. Why does that have to affect how much money I'm making? Waiting for the birth of something. It's magnificent. The Ace of Wands. The Seven of Wands. It's like trying to stop this from coming out. Trying to stop this from coming out. Defending it. Look at the attack. The attack. It's as if somebody's passion, somebody's illumination and illuminating others even is attacked. You need to defend this dream. You need to defend this truth of humanity. The Ten of Wands is on the bottom. Yeah, somebody's carrying a very heavy burden. That's what I got. Okay, we're gonna calm down now. Calm down. Whew. Whew. So I don't know, that's what it is. I got it out of the system. You can leave me alone now. Leave me alone. Let me just do my regular shit. I got nothing else to say. That's it. That's all. I feel pretty confident in that the cards are expressing what I've been getting in intuitive hits and synchronicities. God, that duct tape thing was so funny. It's just almost like it's just, oh my God, I said that and I've always thought that. But I didn't really know if it happened in nuclear power stations. Now I know it does. It's everywhere. Well, I've never been to NASA either. I've never been any place that they shoot off rocket ships. I bet you they're using duct tape too. You know, that was it the Hubble telescope where Houston in Florida, or Canaveral or whatever, I don't know, you know, where the two of them spots they do that. One was working in the imperial system and one was working in the metric system. And they didn't tell each other that. I was something to do with that. Why the thing was like, they sent something into space and it got all screwed up. Literally. They're talking to each other with numbers, but they don't realize they're not using the same system. Okay, that's what I got. Okay, I gotta clear the energy. This was like so intense how much is needed to come out. So I'm gonna do my regular shit. I'm going back to the regular programming on this station channel. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.